You ever see a logo and it just clicks? It feels like more than just a picture on a product. Well, that's because it is. Logos are constantly talking to us in a kind of secret visual language. And today, we're going to crack that code. We're going to find out how a simple little image can build a massive empire right inside our own minds. And it all kicks off with one really powerful idea.
This quote from the design legend Walter Landor, this is the whole game, right here. What he's saying is, the thing you can hold in your hand, that's just the start. The real power, the brand, that gets built up here, in our thoughts, our feelings. Anybody can build a product in a factory, but a brand, that can only be built in the mind.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth does a company take a simple shape, a splash of color, and turn it into this powerful bond with millions of us? How does a logo go from just being some mark on a box to being a symbol of who we are? Well, that's exactly what we're about to break down. Okay, so to get how logos pull this off, we have to learn to speak their language. And it turns out there's a secret framework, a kind of code, that designers use to send very specific messages without ever using a single word. And trust me, once you see it, you'll start seeing it everywhere.
Now, the fancy academic name for this is semiotics. I know, it sounds complicated, but I promise it's not. All it really is the study of how signs and symbols make us think and feel something. You can basically think of it as the grammar for our visual world, and if you learn the basic rules, you become fluent.
So here's how it works. This language has 3 levels. Number 1 is form. This is the simple stuff. What does it literally look like? We're talking shapes, colors, lines. Next, level 2 is meaning. What do those shapes and colors represent? What's the idea they're trying to get across? And then there's a 3rd level, and this one's the most important, feeling. How does that logo actually make you feel? What kind of gut reaction does it spark? So remember that. Form, meaning, feeling. Let's put this theory to the test with a real-world example. And honestly, there is no better case study for this than one of the biggest rivalries in tech history. We're going to use our new secret decoder ring on the logos of the old-school corporate giant, IBM, and the creative rebel that decided to take them on, Apple. It really is a David versus Goliath story, told entirely through design. So back in the early days of computers, IBM was the undisputed king of the hill. I mean, they were it. Their brand was all about stability, solid quality, and corporate reliability. They basically wrote the visual rules for the whole industry. But then Apple shows up, and they position themselves as the complete opposite of all that. This vibrant, creative, innovative new way of thinking. And you can see their entire philosophy just by looking at their logos from back in the 70s. It's incredible. On the one hand, you've got the IBM logo. It's rigid, striped, serious. And on the other, you have the Apple logo. It's colorful, it's rounded, it's playful. The difference is so stark, and it is 100% intentional. They are speaking 2 totally different languages. So let's break this down with our 3 levels. First, the form. IBM is all straight lines, blocky letters, one color. Apple, it's all soft curves and literally a rainbow. Now that form creates meaning. IBM's design screams corporate stability and reliability. Apple says, hey, we're about a more human, creative approach to tech. And all of that leads to the final, most powerful level, feeling. The IBM logo feels professional, serious, trustworthy. The Apple logo, it feels fun, friendly, and yeah, even a little bit rebellious. See how that works? So we've seen how this secret language works. But what happens when a brand gets it perfect, when they master this emotional language? Well, something incredible happens. They create this intense connection with us that builds a sense of identity and a level of loyalty that is just unbelievable. And that connection with Apple became so powerful that people started describing its users with words you'd normally reserve for a religion, not a computer company. Think about these phrases: Apple's faithful, Mac zealots, members of the cult of Mac. I mean, that's not just a brand, that's a belief system. It shows you just how deep that emotional bond really went. And this cult-like loyalty pops up in some pretty wild ways. People don't just open a new iPhone, they perform an unpacking ceremony. They don't just buy a laptop, they give it a cute little name, like Bootsy. And maybe the craziest example of all, an empty cardboard box for an original Macintosh computer once sold on eBay for over $500. That's not buying a product, that's owning a piece of history. It's a tribute. And this diagram just lays it all out perfectly. Here's how it all works. It starts with a simple, basic need. I need a computer. But then the brand, Apple, attaches this cultural meaning to it. Apple is for cool, creative people.
That creates a powerful emotional connection in our minds. If I use an apple, I will be intelligent, I'll be creative, I'll think different. And just like that, the simple need for a computer gets transformed into a powerful desire for an apple. And that is what creates that rock-solid loyalty.
So here's the big takeaway from all of this. A truly great logo does way more than just identify a product on a shelf. It becomes a symbol of what you believe in, who you see yourself as, and what group you belong to. It stops being a brand mark and it becomes a flag for your tribe.
And that just about wraps it up. But I want to leave you with one final thought. Just take a look around you right now. Think about the logos on your clothes, on your phone, on your coffee cup. Every single one of them is sending a signal. They're all telling a story. So the only question left is, what story are they telling about you?